Hi guys, today is the 29th of October 2020. It's 17 minutes past 10 in the morning over here in the UK. I wanted to do a quick interpretation video for November the 1st, or possibly November the 10th, obviously switching the digits of 01 around. Now, the first place that I want to look at is this apple. We know that we can see the volcano on the apple just here with the lava coming out at the bottom, or the magma, and the eruption, which seems to be quite big, spreading across the surface of the apple. Now, because Obama is in this scene, you can see his foot just here. I interpret this volcano as Kilauea or Mauna Loa, but I also consider that this could be a representation of one of the volcanoes near Italy, because the apple could represent an island where the volcano is on. And if that's the case, in Italy, right next to Italy, which is shaped like a boot, we have the volcanoes Mount Etna and Stromboli. And then I've also had a look at the Canary Island volcano, La Palma, taking that from the other name for it, which is La Cumbre Vieja, where you've got the L and the C and potentially the V in the tear or the water droplet that runs down Obama's face. So those three volcanoes I've got on watch. The theory is that they erupt in such a spectacular and massive way that their flanks collapse, pushing all of their material into the water that surrounds them, generating a tsunami, which would affect the coasts of the countries that surround that volcano. Now, obviously, I can't be sure that it's any of those five volcanoes that I've mentioned. It could be a completely different one. I've also looked at an underwater one off the coast of Africa. So that would also be another one I'm keeping my eye on. Landlocked volcanoes are not really an issue because we have the theory of the flank collapsing and causing the tsunami. So the potential date I think that could take place is on November 1st. Now, I've already done a video recently of what I think may take place on October 31st with the surprise in the New York and Middle East conflict or something happening there. And then I've also talked about November 5th with Donald Trump, China, North Korea, and the Asian continent kind of coming into war, maybe involving Taiwan, maybe involving South Korea as well, maybe involving Japan. So there's a lot to watch out for on the 31st and the 5th of November. But before the 5th of November and after the 31st, we have November 1st. And I'm simply taking that from the two seeds on this side, giving me the reference to 11, and the zero space and the one seed, which is giving me a reference to 01. So 1101. And obviously, it kind of flows in that timeline. If events have kicked off on the 31st at the end of the month, then the next day you can assume that things may continue. The other place that I see November 1st and the potential reference to uh, volcanic eruption, tsunami, also earthquake, just go back very quickly. I think the splitting of the apple is a reference to the splitting of the earth, not the whole globe, but the ground on which we stand and on which we live. There being an earthquake that splits the ground, um, possibly connected with the volcano, either causing it or caused by it, and then the tsunami. So those three things, volcano, earthquake, and tsunami, they go together in terms of events, in my interpretations anyway. So here in this scene, where we see this massive tsunami wave coming over and bending these buildings back, these are skyscrapers, obviously. So the theory is that the wave would be as high as a skyscraper. We've only seen those kind of tsunami type events in movies, and obviously some people believe, including myself, that movies contain subliminal messaging, some about future events. Um, so I pay attention to these things. Now, in this whole scene, we've got the tsunami wave, we've got the skyscrapers, we've got the reptile-like figure, whether that's a dragon or a snake, just here in green. Um, it's all in there. I think it's a dragon, biblical reference. The dragon spews the water after the woman. This is after he's been thrown down from the heavens after the big great battle. Obviously, this is all theoretical and metaphorical, so just keep that in mind. But down here, where we see these smaller towers or skyscrapers, we have potential references to numbers, 1, 1, 1, and 0. I always look at this as a break in between the two sets of digits. Now, this can, in my opinion, since we passed October 11th and October 2nd, I translate it to November 1110 or November 1st 01. It's the same thing that's in the apple. We're kind of seeing the same thing. We don't see the volcano, but we do have the smoke hidden in the background. And to me, that suggests an explosion of some kind. And I go with volcano. So the volcano in the background, the tsunami wave is there, and then the crumbling of the church suggests either it's been struck by the tsunami wave, as you can see, but the church appears to be in front of the tsunami wave in the foreground, where the tsunami wave, one tsunami wave, is in the background, and the other tsunami wave is even more in the background. They've done that by color, so you've got the darker blue here, you get to a lighter blue here, and then the lightest blue in the front. So you've got three sets of images here. Now, the church itself, I think, could convey an earthquake, the crumbling of the earthquake. And in this scene, we get the Antichrist figure coming out of the cave, or what would be a metaphorical representation of birthing, coming through the birth canal. He's coming out, and as he's coming out, earlier in the video, we see the crumbling as he's coming out, suggesting, again, some sort of shaking movement. And I think that's, very earthquake related. So this is the scene where we can see things crumbling and all the, bits of rock and stuff are dropping into the water. So I feel that's associated with the earthquake. And then as we see now, we switched back to the Kali figure representing death. And we know that earlier in the scene, when we're first introduced to this character, what she does is stamp on the ground, and below her is the number 6 or 9. You can just about see it here, just here. And that stamping suggests a magnitude 6 or magnitude 9 earthquake. Now, because this whole scene has the Indian goddess represented in it, I often believe that earthquake is associated with the Indian Ocean. But it may not be. It could just be an earthquake in general. So I'm keeping that in mind. So bearing those two scenes in mind, the apple and the tsunami scene at the end, it does seem that there's a reference to volcano, earthquake, tsunami. And again, volcano on the apple, earthquake shown through the split, and tsunami on the ground. Both scenes have the same date or number references, 1101 or 1110. So November the 1st and November the 10th, keep an eye out for these events. Again, I'm kind of brought to the earthquake scene in the beginning of this video. When George Bush sits down, the room shakes. Just a very, very small amount, but you see it there. And on the wall over here, we have these tilted letters which suggest they've been shaken. And I believe that they are significant. They're supposed to be telling us something. Now, we have here the letter O, which could stand for October, and then we have the Z, which I don't think stands for a particular word, but may represent the end. So if I put those together with O possibly representing October and Z possibly representing the end, that would be the end of October. So October 31st going into November the 1st, potential earthquake zone. So again, that just may be another confirmation of the interpretation. And the last part I want to talk about here is in this scene, we have these fish that come swimming up out of the deep and jump into the boat. Now, I've done my research, and I know that these fish with these black lines on them are called tsunami fish. Very convenient. And I have also slowed the video down in the past and counted the number of fish that jump into this boat. And from my count, it's 31. Feel free to slow the video down yourself and do the counting yourself. But that's what I got. Tsunami fish jumping out of the water, 31 of them. So if we have a potential connection with the end of October here, with the shaken letters possibly representing an earthquake, and we have what looks to be a crumbling building, possibly representing an earthquake, and a split apple, again possibly representing an earthquake, they all come around the same time. So November 1st, and again, you've also got the 1, 2, 3, 1 empty space reference, which is 31. So 31, November 1st, around that time, keep yourselves alert and watchful for an earthquake, possibly magnitude 8 to 9, a volcanic eruption anywhere in the world, but particularly I'm looking out for volcanoes around Hawaii, around Italy, around Africa. And then the tsunami, keeping an eye on the Atlantic, the Indian Ocean, and the Pacific for that event. They may be connected with each other, as in they all happen in the same region, but that doesn't have to be the way it takes place. You could have an earthquake in one region, a volcanic eruption in another region, and then a tsunami in a completely different region. But the main point of this video is keep your eyes open on November 1st for these events. And should November 1st come and go without any of these events taking place, keep an eye out on November 10th, which is just the reverse of the November 1st. You guys have a good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and may the Heavenly Father bless you.